What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, first round of the EFL Cup for us against Nottingham Forest at home. It is against lesser opposition, even if they are still probably a better team than some teams had to face this round. Like Arsenal had Doncaster Rovers and somebody else had a lower club. Oh, Everton had Sunderland. But yeah, it's a bit more difficult than we normally would have to face at this stage in the tournament. But at the same time, it's still a team that you expect to beat. And I find that whenever we get to games like this, it can be a little bit difficult to get super excited for it. It's the first round, you're facing off against a lower club. If you don't win, it's embarrassing. So the only expectation is to win. It can be difficult. You just kind of go into the game already expecting to win. It's not really exciting whenever you get goals most of the time because if you're running up the score, it's just kind of like, well, now we're on our fifth or sixth goal, so whoop-de-doo. Like against Karabakh, kind of a similar situation, but there was something to be excited about because it was our first game returning to the Champions League. So that gave you something to be excited about. So that's what I try to look for in games like this. I try to find something to be excited about. So when I pull up the lineup and I see that not only is Musonda starting, but Kennedy is as well, that's pretty exciting. You've got youth players in. I go and look on the bench, and you've got 3 youth players on the bench. I'm excited now. It gave me something to be excited about. It's more than just, we're facing off against the lower team that we expect to beat at home. Now we get a chance to see some of our youth players play. If we do go up 4 or 5-0, it doesn't matter because now our youth players have a chance to get in. Now they have a chance to go and play. That's exciting. It gives me something to look forward to, and that's what I loved about this game is I got a chance to see some of these youth players play on the first team stage. And that's always exciting. So first of all, let's talk about the lineup because a lot of changes going into this game. Caballero comes in. I do expect him probably to play in this tournament and maybe in the FA Cup as well. It is kind of one of those things where you don't want it to be a Begovic situation where he never plays. And so if Courtois gets hurt or suspended, now you're bringing in a keeper that's cold because he hasn't been playing at all. So these tournaments are the tournaments where he needs to be playing. He needs to be getting time so that whenever he does have to step in, if Courtois needs him to, he's ready for it. We don't want him to just sort of fade away and not be good enough whenever we need him to be. So glad to see him getting some time. Rudiger, Christensen, and Cahill are in the back. Disappointed to see Cahill playing again because it kind of feels like, for some reason, just because he's our captain, he deserves to play. I'm frustrated with him. I'm frustrated with some of his play, some of what he's doing on the ball, causing us issues in the back. I don't know. The fact that nobody can see what I'm seeing, in the coaching staff is a little bit frustrating, but I do like seeing Christensen and Rudiger get some time on the field. You got Kennedy on the left side, which is great because, like I said, in the weekend, I think Marcus Alonso needs a bit of a break. He's been playing a lot of games. You could see it sort of wearing on him a bit. So the fact that Kennedy gets to play, there is a little bit of friction there because of his whole preseason debacle where, he posted something offensive on Instagram. I understand why people are offended about it, but at the same time, those people that are still offended and probably still, I haven't really looked to check and see if anybody's been posting anything about him. But the fact of the matter is, he's young, he made a stupid mistake. As far as I can tell, he's paid for it, because he hasn't been in the first team picture at all up until this point. He made a mistake, the club reprimanded him for it. I assume there's probably some other punishment that went on behind the scenes, but he hasn't been involved in the first team setup hardly at all. So it kind of makes sense. He's paid his dues. Now let's see what he can do on the field. What can he do out on the pitch? And then Dapacosta is on the right side. Good to see him get some more time because he's a player we do need going forward. He and Moses, they're going to be playing a lot of games, so he needs to be ready to make sure he's ready to play as well. In the middle, Fabregas and Bakayoko. Nice to give Conte a little bit of a rest. He does work tirelessly hard, but at some point you have to say, all right, let's give him a game off so he can be 100% ready come the weekend. And Bakayoko, giving him some time on the field. It's always great to see him play. You go into the front three, you've got a Belgian trio. You've got Hazard, Musonda, and Batshuayi all there up top. That's exciting. It's exciting to see Hazard finally get a start. It's exciting to see Batman still getting time on the field. And it's exciting to see Musonda get his start for the first team on his debut. So, yeah, it's a very exciting lineup. You look at the subs that came on, all three of them youngsters. You've got Ampadu came on first. At first, I was like, I've heard his name before. Where have I heard his name before? And then they showed a picture, or they showed him sitting on the bench. I'm like, oh yeah, it's little David Luiz, because I did see him playing for the U18 team at one point, and that's all I thought. I was like, it's little David Luiz. Then Clarke-Salter came on, and then who was the other one? Oh, Dujon Sterling came on as well. So all three youth players, that's also exciting. So just a really good game overall, but let's talk about the individual performances. Caballero had to be called upon to make a couple saves. He did look a little bit hesitant a couple times, whether he wanted to come out, stay back, what he was trying to do. That could come from the fact that he hasn't really been playing that much. So, like I said, this game time will help because we need him to be prepared in case Courtois is not available. But as far as his commanding in the back, I would like to see him be a little bit more vocal. It didn't really feel like he was leading the back line. I felt like he was just sort of there. So I want to see, I guess, a bit more leadership from him because he is a veteran. He's been playing for a while. So Cahill on the left. You guys know my frustration with Cahill if you've been watching my videos. But yeah, he's still similar things. Still doing stuff on the ball that they shouldn't be. Defensively, at times looks okay, but then at times a little bit scary. The only goal that they got, the last part of the game, it felt like it should have just been away because it came in from the left side. Kennedy kind of went into a challenge that he should have been going into and got beat. Cahill should have been there. He's the support. He should be stepping in and clearing the danger, but instead, he just kind of doesn't really step in and lets the guy come inside. I'm just like, what are you doing? Why are you on the field if you're not going to step in and make the challenge? I don't know, it just felt like he wasn't really there. He's just kind of he's in the general vicinity of what's going on, but he's never really there putting himself in to make a challenge. So, I don't know, I'm still just really disappointed with him. I'm still disappointed with the fact that he's our captain when he's not even our best defender. Honestly, out of our starting options, probably our worst defender, to be honest. So, but anyway, Christensen in the middle, pretty solid overall. Had a couple moments where he did come out of the back with the ball, kind of like what David Luiz does. So I think that's very important because one of the things I've noticed from him is, like I said before, David Luiz is more of a stopper who steps in, and Christensen is more of a sweeper who drops back. And so in our system, generally you want somebody who's going to step into the midfield and help out a little bit, not somebody who's going to drop off while everybody else is dropping off as well. So he is starting to step out a little bit more, be a little bit more confident too. So that can only help us. His growing in confidence will hopefully increase his game to the point where now he's a suitable replacement for David Luiz and possibly at some point, take over the position from him entirely because, David Luiz does have his moments where he plays really well, but then he has a couple brain fart moments. So you want somebody who's going to step in and take his spot with a lot of confidence and solidity. And from what I've seen from Christensen so far, he's done that. So another really solid game from him, and I love to see that. Same thing from Rudiger. A very solid game from him. One of the things that really surprised me is apparently he can hit a great diagonal. I mean, his assist for Kennedy's goal was just inch perfect. Kennedy timed his run well. He timed the pass well. Perfectly right into his path and just right on his foot. And he did that quite a few times. He kept looking for that diagonal over the top, looking for Kennedy or Hazard, Musonda, whoever was on the left side. He just kept looking for it and it just kept coming off, kept working. I was really impressed with that. So the fact that he's already shown he's a very solid defender, now he's showing he can distribute out of the back as well. Why is he not starting over Cahill? Somebody please explain that to me. Anyway, on to the wingbacks. Kennedy, pretty solid game from him overall. Defensively, still needs some work, but that's to be expected because he is more of a wing player than he is a wing back. So hopefully the defensive side of his game will come, sort of like it did for Moses. But the fact that he is a younger player, he's got a lot of speed on him, very quick on the dribble as well. He is an exciting young player. Yes, there is some of the controversy from the beginning of the season, but I hope that the people who were offended by what he posted, I hope they can look past that and see it was a naive mistake. He's admitted to his mistake. The club have owned up for him as well. And, now's the time where we can move on and say, all right, that's in the past. We don't want to focus on that anymore. You've made your mistake. Don't make the same mistake, and we're good. Zappacosta on the right side, his flaws were shown a little bit more in this game than they were against Karabakh. Just a little bit of a lack of speed that can hurt him at times. There was a young player that came on up top from Nottingham later on in the game, and he just got blown by this kid. It was like, here's Zappacosta, here's the kid who Rudiger should have probably been picking him up, but the ball goes over the top, and all of a sudden it's here. It was just so much fast. He was so much faster than Zappacosta was. I'm just like, okay, so you don't really have a lot of speed. But hopefully he can use his experience as a defender to make sure that he's not letting the speedsters just get past him. He's actually using his body well to stay in front of them and keep them from just blowing right by him. But as far as his work on the ball, his really work off the ball as well, he really works very hard, and I see all of that, and I really do appreciate the hard work, and I'm hoping that speed doesn't become a hindrance for him, because it is a very fast league, and you don't want to put somebody in there who's not going to be able to keep up. So I'm hoping that was just like, a little bit of a thing and not going to turn into a major thing going forward, but I guess we'll have to see. Fabregas in midfield did a pretty good job of holding down possession, keeping the ball whenever he's in there. As far as his defensive work, he does work very hard, even if he's not the fastest or best defensive player. And interceptions are normally his thing, but whenever he has to put in a tackle, he does a pretty good job of it. Occasionally he's a little bit wild. We saw him give a foul away right outside the box because he gives the ball away. He works very hard to get behind it, but then he just sort of swings the leg at it instead of standing the guy up and putting himself in front of him. So there is some defensive errors on his part, but what he brings going forward and the work that he brings to put pressure on people, you could see the hard work that's in there, and you can see what he does for us in the midfield. So very good to see from him. Bakayoko, very good job of being the big body, very strong, very quick feet as well. I mean, people were talking about him as the replacement for Matic, and I can see what they mean. He's doing pretty much what Matic did, but he's a little bit quicker than Matic is. He's a little bit faster. So I'm really liking him so far. I'm hoping he can feature in the team a bit more. Obviously, it's going to be hard because you've got two quality midfielders in Conte and Fabregas. Then you've got Bakayoko, who's also a good choice. It's hard to see who's going to be the one to take the spot. Who's going to be the one that's going to be in there for this game. Are you looking for more speed? Are you looking for more attacking? Are you looking for more strength? That's pretty much what you've got. If you're looking for speed and strength, Conte and Bakayoko. If you're looking for strength and attack, Bakayoko, Fabregas. If you're looking for attack and some speed, Fabregas and Conte. So it just depends on what type of game it is. I'm hoping they'll do their research, they'll do their homework, and they'll look at what team are we facing. Okay, it's this team. They're not very strong in the midfield, so let's put Bakayoko in. Oh, it's this team. They've got a lot more speed in the midfield, so let's put Conte in. Just stuff like that. Really need to make sure that we're using our midfielders correctly because we have a good variety in there. It's just you got to make sure the right players are playing on the right days. Up into the front three, Hazard coming back from injury. Typical Hazard stuff, very good movement off of the ball, and then when he's on it, very good work to try to open up spaces for other people. Everybody's making runs off of each other. Musonda and Batman are giving him good options. Kennedy is getting up there and helping him out as well. So it's just his play, oftentimes he can do it on his own, but there are times whenever you need players to work off of him. Like we saw last year whenever we faced Man U at their place and they beat us 2-0. A lot of people were saying that Ander Herrera marked him out of the game, when the truth of the matter was it was Costa and Pedro's lack of movement. He couldn't, he made great runs, he did a lot of good stuff on the ball, but they're not making the right runs for him. They're not helping him out with their runs. He can't do anything with it, make a great run with the ball and then can't find the final pass because nobody's there for him. So this game, Batman and Musonda and Kennedy were all there for him. They were all giving him options, and that's when he looks at his best. He looks good on his own already. You give him help up there, and he looks incredible. He looks like the best player in the world. So I love seeing sort of that connection between him and Batman and him and Musonda. They worked very well together up there. But great to see him coming back towards full fitness. He's almost there. He's getting there. But I think he is there. And I hope to see him in the weekend get the start because we do need him. We're doing okay without him. We've won 3, lost and tied 1. But we should be winning every game. And I think that's our final piece. We need him in there to help us win games that we should be winning. Like against Arsenal, he would have changed the game for us if he had been in earlier. Musonda, first start for the young player, and thoroughly impressed with what I saw. I do have a little bit of a, critique because there are a lot of hype glasses going on right now with him because everybody just loves him. He's a youth player. He's finally breaking into the first team. Everybody's been talking about him. Oh, Charlie Musonda Jr., remember the name, remember the name. I've been seeing it everywhere. He is a good player. Very good, very quick, very fast. However, the one thing that's going to hurt him, I think, going forward is he's not strong. And you can see that at times whenever he's put under a challenge, whenever he's trying to win the ball back, he wasn't strong enough to hold on to the ball or to win the ball back. And we see a lot of the time with Pedro, that's one of the things that hurts Pedro a lot, is that he's not strong. And so somebody puts in a challenge on him, and he's not keeping the ball. Unless it's somebody who's slower and he can flick it past him, generally he loses out whenever somebody puts in a strong challenge on him. So, yeah, same thing with Musonda. It's just a lack of strength that I think he needs to get stronger if he wants to try to make it in the Premier League. So, I love seeing the young player get his chance. I love seeing him not only get a chance, but get a goal as well. I mean, he did play well, but that strength issue did come in a few times, and I can see that being a problem going forward. So, we'll see what happens from there, but that's my opinion on him. And then Batman getting himself a hat trick is always a great thing to see. His work off the ball, his movement to get in there, just really, really well done from him overall. And I'm hoping this movement continues when he gets a chance in the Premier League play as well, because that's something that he didn't have against Tottenham, against Burnley. He didn't have that movement going on, and so he couldn't really create any chances. So this is the type of movement that we need to see from him more often, and you can see what happens when he does move. He gets himself a goal. He is a very good finisher. So on to the subs that came on. Ethan Ampadu came on first. Pretty good in the midfield. He's very good at winning the ball in the air. He is a little bit wild, kind of like David Luiz. It's honestly funny watching him. I'm just like, he looks like a smaller David Luiz. It's hysterical. But yeah, some of his passes were a little bit strong. He's going for the killer through ball, and it's not on. It's straight through the keeper. But as far as his work off the ball, trying to win the ball back, creating spaces for people, he did a very good job for being, 17 years old. I was impressed with him pretty much. He looks like he could be a player that could help us if we need somebody in there that's going to bring something a little bit different. Obviously, I don't think he's going to upset Conte, Bakayoko, Fabregas, or even Drinkwater for that matter. So he is kind of in a spot where you don't really see him breaking in this year. But if he can continue to grow and get a little bit bigger, calm yourself down a little bit, be a little bit more composed in the midfield, he could be a very solid defensive midfielder. So love seeing him out there. The other two that came on, though, impressed me a little bit more because Clarke-Salter came on in the defense and instantly just made an impact with his defensive headers. The ball comes down the field, he's beating people to the ball out of the air, he's heading it not just away, he's actually finding our feet up top whenever he heads it away. So he seems like a very clever defender. He did get a little bit of time. I think he got like one game in preseason. And he looks pretty good for being a younger defender. We do have, I'm not going to say we have a lack of defense right now because we do have quite a few defenders still, even with David Luiz being out. You still got Aspilicueta, Christensen, Rudiger, and Cahill. So you still got 4 defenders for 3 positions. However, if you have another missing, there's a good chance he could possibly break in because he looks solid enough. He looks like he's good enough already to be in that first team picture if we give him a chance, because that's the only thing hindering him right now. Is he going to get first team time? Is he going to get a chance to be in there? He looks like he can be. He looks like he's already good enough to be in that starting lineup. Just not world class quality like Rudiger or Christensen or Spilicueta. You know, those players are players that just, they're the best of the best. Clarke-Salter's not there yet. You know, he's still got a little bit of room to grow, but from what I saw so far, thoroughly impressed. And then the last one, of course, was Dujon Sterling, came on in the right wing back role. Another option in case we need it. You know, I don't see him. You got Moses already, and you got Zappacosta, but Dujon is also a very good choice. You know, very good, very quick feet as well. He's got the speed. He has the defensive capabilities back there. So it's almost like he's sort of a mixture of Zappacosta and Moses, where he's got the speed and the work ethic of Moses, but he's got the defensive qualities of Zappacosta that Moses doesn't have. But at the same time, he is a little bit smaller, so kind of similar to Musonda. I could see him getting bodied off the ball pretty easily, but hopefully his quick feet would allow him to stay away from getting into challenges like that. So I guess we'll have to see, but like I said, getting to see these three young players in the first team, getting to see what they're capable of, they did impress. You know, Ampadu was a little bit off at times, but still showed his quality for the most part. Clarke-Salter and Sterling, in my opinion, really showed what they're capable of out there. Show that they could possibly try to break into the first team, maybe this year, maybe next year, depending on what the numbers are like. But I'm excited. You know, that gets me really excited to see. Not only are we seeing these young players in, but they're impressing. You know, they're doing very well. Musonda got a goal. Kennedy got a goal. Clarke-Salter was very dominant defensively. Sterling was creating problems out on the wing. Ampadu was providing support and depth and very good defensive capabilities. So, yeah, I'm super excited. Hopefully you guys saw what I saw, but if not, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game? What were your thoughts on the youth players? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.